You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law, voted Best of Las Vegas. Give them a call, 702-727-9900.
Thank you for joining us here on News 25 and Ace Country Radio and streaming at KPVM.TV and now on Roku devices on this Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. Good evening. I'm Chris Palermo. Here is what's happening. A fatal accident occurred yesterday, March 18th, on Highway 160 near Rainbow here in Pahrump. News 25 has this story.
On March 18th at approximately 4:17 p.m., a fatal crash occurred on Highway 160 between Homestead Road and Rainbow Avenue. According to the preliminary report, the collision involved two pickup trucks, a gray Dodge Ram and a white Toyota. Tragically, the adult male driver of the Toyota was pronounced dead at the scene, while the adult male driver of the Dodge Ram was transported by Mercy Air to UMC Trauma with non-life-threatening injuries. Authorities temporarily closed both northbound and southbound lanes on Highway 160, rerouting traffic through local streets. The highway was reopened to traffic around 11 p.m. The identities of the drivers have not been released at this time, and the investigation remains ongoing. News 25 will provide updates as more information becomes available.
More news now as the world watched last night's live coverage of NASA astronauts arriving back on Earth after a planned week-long stay in orbit. Our News 25 Las Vegas correspondent Maria Centers now brings us more.
After 9 long months at the International Space Station, NASA astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore have safely splashed back down to planet Earth. Along with NASA astronaut Nick Hague and Russian cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov, the group of four known as Crew 9 returned back to Earth aboard a SpaceX Dragon capsule. Now let's take a look at some of NASA's most fascinating coverage of last night's win.
While on board the International Space Station, Nick, Suni, Butch, and Alexander contributed to over 900 hours of science and research investigations, which is really the key purpose of the International Space Station.
Right there, have our first view of Dragon Freedom coming home to Earth.
And that view is from the WB-57, which is one of NASA's high-altitude planes that is tracking.
Of the Triumph, the White House tweeted, "Promise made, promise kept."
There you are getting a great view of Crew 9 inside Dragon Freedom as it returns back to Earth. We are awaiting the drogue deploys. This view coming from the WB-57 high-altitude plane. And there you see it on your screen, drogue deployment.
Drogue descent rate nominal.
Crew 9 splashed down off the coast of Florida at just about 5:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
We can see the crew there using their restraints as resting places for their arms. They were just in space moments ago, so their arms were able to float freely.
And splashdown, Crew 9 back on Earth.
And SpaceX Freedom, splashdown. Good main release.
Copy, splashdown. We see main chutes cut. Nick, Alex, Butch, Suni, on behalf of SpaceX, welcome home.
NASA Commercial Crew Program Manager Steve Stitch described the moment as, quote, 9 months in the making.
You can see folks on board clapping as our first crew member.
And that is NASA astronaut Nick Hague, commander of Crew 9. Now out of Crew Dragon Freedom. Next up out of the capsule, we expect Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov. His first space flight. Spent 171 days in space.
Looks like we're getting some cheers and clapping on board as Alexander is slid down the little ramp and placed into the mobility aid. That is none other than Suni Williams. Big smile, big waves.
That leaves NASA astronaut Butch Wilmore inside Dragon in seat 4. We're getting some views of him now as he egresses or exits the spacecraft.
Elation and cheers there from Butch Wilmore.
On behalf of everyone here at KPVM Television, we wish Crew 9 a speedy recovery as you transition back to Earth. Reporting from Las Vegas, I'm Maria Centers for News 25.
Thank you very much, Maria. A great moment for Americans. And at the March 12th Pahrump Regional Planning Committee meeting, a gas station development along Highway 160 and Highway 372 was proposed. Though the final decision was postponed, the item will appear back on the agenda during the meeting in May. Here's what News 25 knows so far.
A new commercial development here in Pahrump was announced at the March 12th Pahrump Regional Planning Committee meeting, but ultimately this decision was postponed. The item presented plans for a multi-use commercial center that would include a gas station, convenience store, car wash, and a quick service restaurant that is designed to serve the community along Highway 160 and 372. The general manager at the Nye County Water District, Daniel Weeks, spoke during this item during public comment.
From my position of my desk, I looked at this in water-wise. You guys all know there's a lot of flooding there. I would suggest that you take a look at the historic reason why that gas station was abandoned.
Yes, they flooded the tanks.
You should take a look at that. And you should also know that there is, from a hydrological sense, in the middle of the parking lot at the Nugget, there's an old historic spring right there, and there's high transmissivity of water between there and underneath this subject property. In the case of a catastrophic leak, there would be petroleum for a deep plume all the way down 372, moving towards the park and that old historic Pahrump wash area. As a citizen, I would say I see circumstances painting you guys and tying your hands and painting you into a box, and I would pray to you that you realize that this property is going to demonstrate the character of our community moving forward forever. There are already 3 gas stations on that intersection. And if we're going to look for the best possible use, then I think that there's other uses for that particular lot and that particularly directive part of our community. So I would say don't let your staff paint you into a box and tell you that you can't do. You can do, and we're counting on you to represent the community and to protect that very special lot and do what would best serve the community. So thank you.
The next steps will depend on the approval of the Nye County Water Board, which will determine whether this multifaceted business center will move forward with construction.
I think there's a lot of things we need to have a conversation with the applicant about. And again, with this one, I'd like to hear from the water board. So our options are we can outright deny it and they can reapply, or we can continue it to a date after they go before the water board. We have a motion and a second to continue this to May 14th, 2025. And I will call for the vote, starting with Commissioner Bohannon.
Bohannon's aye.
Brian, aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
More local stories coming up, sports and weather as we enter into spring. You're watching News 25.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on.
Welcome back to News 25. I'm Chris Palermo. Well, the Vegas Golden Knights have had a few days of rest, but one of the original 6 teams, the Boston Bruins, coming to town tomorrow night. Mikey has that and more in sports.
Time now for your News 25 look at sports and streaming at KPVM.TV and now on Roku devices. Vegas Golden Knights return home tomorrow evening. They welcome the Boston Bruins. It's going to be wicked pissa. Shea Theodore has returned to practice in a red non-contact jersey. Theodore has been out since the first game of the Four Nations face-off after he was hit into the boards. Theodore sustained a broken wrist, but the Golden Knights never officially shared the details of the injury. The 29-year-old's return date was never revealed either. He is week to week. It's time for the Ovechkin check-in. Grade 8 did not score in the Capitals' 4-1 victory over the Detroit Red Wings, but Our Ovies' greatest goal countdown continues with number 6.
Here in game 2 of round number 2. Ovechkin now, here he comes, trying to bust through the middle, and scores! What a goal by Alex Ovechkin! Wow!
And this is just solid strength and puck skills. Get him the puck in the middle of the ice. He splits the middle of the 2D, and it's like a slingshot. You watch his release, it's incredible. It's a slingshot, and he finds the opening on the far side. Top shelf.
And the UNLV Skating Rebels beat Adrian College 7-3 to win the ACHA National Championship. This is the second straight national championship game UNLV played versus Adrian College, but with a different outcome as the Skating Rebels lost 3-0 in 2024.
Established in 2005, the UNLV Skating Rebels have fought and clawed their way up the ladder in the ACHA, and now they're 20 seconds away from getting a visit from Dr. Murdoch and his cup. 14 seconds. Puck to the near side. 10 seconds. A new banner will hang in City National Arena. For the first time, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas Rebels are your ACHA National Champions.
And that's your look at sports on News 25.
Thank you, Mikey, and congratulations to those guys, the Skating Rebels over the UNLV. And now here is Josh Osborne with Pahrump's own great computer deals with this week's tech tutorial.
Hey guys, Josh Osborne here with Pahrump's own great computer deals. It's time for another quick tutorial. Today we're talking about the top 3 things that you need to do if you've been victimized by an Indian scammer. Number 1, you need to disconnect your computer from the internet. Whatever that device was, you need to get it off the internet. Why? Because when that portal is open, that Indian scammer still has access to everything on your device. So if your computer or device is on Wi-Fi, turn off the Wi-Fi. If you physically plug into your router with a cable, disconnect that cable. If you don't know how to do any of this stuff, just turn off the device. Close down that portal, because when it's still open, they potentially still have access to all the information that's on your computer. That's number 1. Number 2, you need to change all the passwords for all the internet accounts that you've ever used on that device, such as bank accounts, email accounts, social media accounts, and things like that. Because while they're on your device, if you had any of that information saved, including your usernames and passwords, they have access to those accounts. So you got to change the locks as soon as possible. And while you're at it, go ahead and call your bank or your credit card company or any other financial institutions that you were working with on that computer and let them know exactly what happened to you, because they are aware of these kind of problems that are out there. They can help you. They can put a watch on your account to look for any kind of fraudulent charges that might be coming through. So let them know what's going on. And number 3, last but not least, you need to uninstall any remote access software. So you might ask, Josh, what is remote access software? That kind of program, that software is basically a tool that these scammers use to get access to your computer. Unbeknownst to a lot of our customers, they're not these amazing hackers over in India that are gaining access to your device against your will. What they're doing is they're convincing you of a problem that you don't have, claiming to be someone that they're not, and then getting access to your computer with one of these programs. They have you download it for free, and then when it's installed on your computer, they have you read off a code that appears on the screen. And with that code, they use it to gain access to your device and have full control to anything on that computer, just like you would have. Some of the 2 popular ones that they use are TeamViewer and one called AnyDesk. That's what we see a lot. Now, there's other programs that are out there, so if you don't see those 2, search to make sure there's not another substitute that's out there. And I do want to say that these programs that I'm mentioning, they're not fraudulent, bad programs whatsoever. They're literally just a tool that is supposed to be used professionally. It's not in this sense. These guys are using this as a way to scam you. So you got to get rid of that software so they no longer have access to you at all. Now, if all these steps I'm giving you is just completely overwhelming you, you're feeling embarrassed, you're feeling confused on what to do, don't worry. Come into the store. We're located at 1190 East Highway 372. We've seen everything at this point. Come on in. We're more than happy to help you. We can walk you through these steps, see if there's any other steps that need to be taken to make sure that everything is cleaned up and resolved as soon as possible. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Feel free to come in if you need any help. Keep watching because there's more videos to come, and we'll catch you guys on the next quick tutorial.
Oh, it's great advice as usual, Josh. And coming up, your chance to hang out with some celebrities here in Pahrump, kind of, and it's a great benefit. You're watching News 25.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500.
Welcome back to News 25. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday. I'm Chris Palermo. Oliver Jones with Pahrump Theater Company stopped by the KPVM studios to discuss a fundraiser happening at the Wind Down at the end of this month. Take it away, Oliver.
Hi, I'm Oliver Jones with Pahrump Theater Company. We're doing a fundraiser at the end of this month at the Wind Down. It is March 29th from 6 to 8. The Wind Down has generously given us a spot to fundraise, so there's going to be raffles, 50-50 raffles, and we're going to have actors walking around in character as 60s celebrities. So you can wine and dine with the celebrities, take pictures with us, try to get us to break character. But really, we're there to raise money for Pahrump Theater Company. We got to buy props and costumes and rent spaces and rent storage, so it will help us out a lot. Thank you so much for your support. I'll see you at the Wind Down on March 29th at 6 p.m.
News 25 Weather Cam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
And that's the Lerner and Rowe Weather Cam, and that is here in Pahrump, Mount Charleston. And you can see that there is still some snow on the summit, even though spring arrives tomorrow. May want to get you in the mood by going down to see the new spring display at the Bellagio called the Birds and the Bees Weather Forecast. Up next.
Good evening, Nevada. My name is Rory Rosell, coming to you from the Channel 25 Weather Studios, and taking a look at Nevada right now. Up in northern Nevada, Fernley seeing 60 degrees, Fallon seeing 61, Carson City at 56, Tonopah at 51, Goldfield at 52, Beatty 10 degrees higher at 62 degrees, Amargosa at 67, Las Vegas at 63, and Death Valley's at 77 degrees. But here in the beautiful paradise of Pahrump, it's currently 64 degrees. The high today was 65. It was sunny, wind blowing south-southeast at 8 miles per hour, humidity 15%, and the sun rose this morning at 6:48 and is setting tonight at 6:55 p.m. The humidity raises up to 22%, and the wind continues to blow east-southeast at 10 miles per hour. The low tonight is going to be 47 degrees. Let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. We are seeing some pretty high temperatures throughout the next 7 days. Tomorrow we are starting at 70 degrees, Friday 75, Saturday is going to be 77, on Sunday we go up into the 80s at 81, Monday's 85, Tuesday's 88, and then we even go up into the 90s at 90 degrees. A complete 20-degree difference in the next 7 days. Soon I won't even need this jacket. Back to the desk, here's Chris.
Thank you, Miss Roselle. Well, that's what we've been waiting for, and the weather is looking spectacular for the Chili Cook-Off Festival down at Petrack Park, starting just in time as things heat up when you taste that chili. That'll just about do it for all of us here tonight. News 25, I'm Chris Palermo. Make it a great night.